Indeed. Now, we've got a lot of backlash stemming from the Senate Democrats' release of the intel report detailing the CIA's interrogation tactics used on suspected terrorists. Listen to what Dick Cheney had to say about it.
3,000 Americans died on 9/11 because of what these guys did. And I have no sympathy for them. I think that what needed to be done was done. I think we were perfectly justified in doing it, and I'd do it again in a minute.
Watch out, there could be a fight on this one. Judge Andrew Napolitano is here. Now, would you put the guys who did the interrogation, these techniques, and the people who said go ahead and do it, would you put them in prison?
Well, unlike the CIA, I would try first and punish second if they were convicted.
Would you prosecute them?
Yes, of course they should seriously be considered for prosecution. Absolutely.
Why?
Well, because they violated federal law. I'll give you a couple of examples. When their boss admitted destroying tapes of the interrogations, that's a destruction of federal government records. That's a crime. When the CIA hacked into the computers of the Senate,
destroy any tape of any government action, and that's a crime? Is it?
Not any, but when you destroy records of behavior that you are required to record, it is a crime.
Were they required to record this?
This is not
you and the secret intelligence operation?
The person who destroyed the I don't know how technical you want to get on this, but the person who destroyed the records did not have the authority to do so. He's acknowledged doing so after the statute of limitations has passed, but he's acknowledged committing a crime. When Senator Feinstein accused the CIA of hacking into the Senate computers, they denied it. They eventually admitted it. The denial is a crime. The hacking is a crime. The president has characterized what's in that report as torture. Vice President Cheney doesn't see it that way. He sees it as the salvation of the country. There's obviously different opinions on that. Reasonable people can view this differently. But when the president calls it torture, his job is to enforce the law. We know he doesn't like to enforce laws that he disagrees with. But on its face, he's supposed to enforce the law. Torture is a federal crime. Why is he calling it torture if he's not going to prosecute it?
Now, the president uses drones to kill American citizens overseas when they've not been charged with any crime whatsoever. He orders up a drone strike, boom, they're gone, they're dead. Should he be prosecuted?
Absolutely.
You think so?
Absolutely. He has no authority whatsoever to kill anybody outside of the theater of war, particularly Americans protected by the Fifth Amendment. When the government wants life, liberty, or property, it has to follow due process. Look, if this guy had been convicted of murder and sentenced to death and escaped from a jail and was threatening to kill people, of course you can shoot him. He hadn't even been tried with a crime. They killed his 16-year-old son and the son's 15-year-old buddy, and they said it was just collateral damage. You cannot do that and claim immunity from prosecution.
Ed Henry, Fox News,
he asked that great
question yesterday. Let's roll that tape and let's see exactly what was said. Go.
Can you explain how the president believes that it's un-American to use these techniques, but it was okay to ramp up the drone policy and basically thousands of people around the world, innocent civilians, were killed? What's the moral equivalency there?
There is significant care taken, and there are significant checks and balances that are included in the system to ensure that any counterterrorism action that's taken by the United States of America does not put at risk innocent lives.
You know, Ed Henry sounded like a fine cross-examiner. He sounded like an excellent cross-examiner at a trial. And Josh Earnest gave a nonsensical, erroneous, and reprehensible answer. Which is worse, that these people were tortured and they lived, or that innocent people going to weddings and hospitals and in mosques were slaughtered by drones and they died? There's no moral equivalence.
May I just say that, in my opinion, in the age of terrorism and the possibility of nuclear terrorism, I think we need new rules on how to get information from people who may have information which saves 1,000 lives.
Let me surprise you with my response to that, if I may. We cannot have rules or laws that prohibit behavior, torture. Do it and deny it. If we're going to torture, it ought to be authorized under the statutes. But to claim it's criminal, to look the other way, to rationalize it away, but yet prosecute civilians if they do it, doesn't make sense.
Would you be comfortable if new rules were issued, they were fully made known, what we can do to get the information, what we can't do, and the CIA stuck to it, even if it was called torture.
No,
would you be comfortable?
no, I would not, but it would be a step in the right direction because we need transparency.
But then you've got to define torture.
The American public is entitled to know what the government does in its name, and the American public has a reasonable expectation that the laws that are enforced against us will be enforced against people in the government.
I got to tell you, Judge,
holding my breath?
In the event of another nasty attack on the United States, if I'm in the government, I'm going to tell the CIA, you go fix this problem.
But wait a minute.
Go fix it.
Can you get in the American government as a graduate of the London School of Economics?
Probably not. But you know what I'm saying?
You know, the reason this report...
I hate looking back and saying, look at the mess we were in.
You know,
that
is a very, very rational
We had to do this. They did the job, and they stopped another al-Qaeda attack. And now we're going to put them in prison?
Here's the problem with what you said. The CIA agents at the scene of these interrogations told Senator Feinstein didn't stop any attacks. They didn't tell us anything. That we didn't learn anything material.
That was directly contradicted by CIA directors in yesterday's Wall Street Journal. Direct contradiction. And they were the guys running the CIA. They should know.
But they weren't there.
But they should know. They got the information.
Well, if you've been accused of lying, you're going to deny it. I don't blame them.
I think we disagree.
I think so.
Oh, well,
can you really join the American government? I got to do some research on that.
Sure, I could. They wouldn't have me. That's the point.
Can you become the president?
Thank you. No, I cannot. We know that one.